or anything?
Yeah.
Magnus, thank you for coming on to Leather Mosaic, and I'm gonna destroy your last name pronouncing it, so how would you say it?
Hakonarson.
Hakonarson.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Simple.
Very cool. Well, we're here in Reykjavik in Iceland, and this is by far the most beautiful country I've ever visited.
Oh, awesome.
It is absolutely wonderful and magical here, and we were very grateful to make contact with you and that you were so welcoming to introduce us to some of Iceland's alternative lifestyle culture.
Okay, thank you.
And so just to begin, would you be willing to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are here now?
Where to start? In the beginning? Well, it started with Rocky Horror Picture Show. That I think got me. I was 17, 18 when I saw it for the first time. For the first time. Been a few times after that. That made me, and also around that time there was a live theater with Rocky Horror, and that created, I think, some kind of vibe that I decided to. I mean, I was not going to suppress myself, and I started to go outwards, search for people. There should be more kinky people than me here in this island, and basically from there it evolved. Nothing really happened until with the internet, when you got more able to connect with people through forums. And from there, I think it was I started with educating people about BDSM in, I think it was 94, 95. Just people that I met through chat forums. And from there, in 96, 7, I met people that were on a similar line that I was on, that is wanting to create an organization. There was one person that had been in the US, had been active in the scene in New York, another one in Berlin or Germany, and we just met and started to create an organization and create the scene from there.
Okay, very interesting. And so, and now you're the chair of the BDSM organization here?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as Iceland goes, I was trying to do some research on how conservative it is or how religious. And so what I discovered, please tell me if I'm horribly wrong about anything, there seems to be, it's predominantly affiliated with a national church? Well, religious-wise, Iceland is not very religious. Okay.
So most people are registered in the Church of Iceland, but the majority of them never go to church and never think about it.
Okay, and so has that then made it easier then, would you say, for people who are LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, to be more open here?
Yeah, but it was a fight. We are everything here happens 10, 20, 30 years later than in the world around us. So the National Queer Organization was established in 1978, and they had a real struggle with everything, with everybody, and most queer people, they just moved abroad. I mean, instead of going from a small town into the big cities, well, they went from a small country to the bigger countries. It's the same. And so we have a lot of queer people that just moved to Denmark and things like that.
Oh. And the transition then to BDSM culture here, it seems like that's been more difficult.
Yeah, well, we decided when we established the BDSM organization, what we were seeing, the Spanner case was in the news, or not in the news, but in the, what do you say, in the BDSM news. And we were watching, and our concern was, is BDSM legal or not? And, well, BDSM, we don't have to worry about the legalities here in Iceland, for the most part. We are in good position there. But we thought, we made a decision to, instead of coming out of the closet, let's just make the closet comfortable. And so we established an underground group or organization that was not seen anywhere. You just have to find it, and we did not advertise or we did actually had an interview on national television shortly after we established the organization, and that was on a prime time news related show that had a not talk show but the news related, regarding the issue or the subject matter, it was decided to move that section of that show to the last part of the program around midnight.
You managed to catch quite a bit of attention yourself. If I was reading correctly, you may have, so if I understood, if it was translating correctly, you were there was going to be an event or party, and you may have accidentally sent it to...
Well, when you make mistakes and accidentally text someone message that, should not get that message. A lot of people have that problem. I did not do that, but I posted on a wrong page from on a volunteer
rescue service.
Yeah, on a volunteer group page that I'm a member of and and that that caused a big stir.
but actually, I was reading it, I read it as a positive sign, because it sounded like many people just laughed about it.
I mean, who hasn't accidentally texted someone wrong message?
Oh, I have. I've lost my job over something like that once, but you know.
Yeah. I did not lose my job there, but there was people talk. Some people wanted me to be thrown out, but for the most part, it was just funny.
Very good. I mean, there's always intolerance and extremists out there. One thing that I was reading in an article about you, and what was the name of the newspaper? Vizier?
Yeah.
You were trying to explain that BDSM should be an orientation, just like being lesbian or gay.
Yeah.
And could you help me to try to understand why that is? Because for many of us in the States, it's a practice.
Yeah. Well, BDSM is both. You can sexuality or sex. It is both an orientation and a practice. It's both orientation or innate drive and a behavior. You can be into BDSM without ever doing anything about it. And I can never think about BDSM, and I meet a partner that is introduced me to BDSM, and I go, hey, well, this is awesome, this is fun. So, well, research and a lot of people, research has shown, and there's a lot of people when they realize that they have been into BDSM since childhood. You know, tying up action figures and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And role playing. and that evolves around the same time as kids realize their sexualities. So, and you cannot not, you cannot not be into BDSM in that way. If you are BDSM orientated, you are into BDSM whether you like it or not. A lot of people do not try to get over it, but they always come back to it. A lot of people, I bought my first BDSM toys when I was 12.
Oh. What was it?
A dog collar and a leash or something like that. But it had nothing to do with sex, anything. It was just a thing that I wanted, thing that I needed. I had no idea why. So when we talk about BDSM orientation, it's part of your sexual identity. It's part of who you are, how you see things, how you realize the world around you, how you connect with people. And so that is one part. That has nothing to do with behavior. And then you have the behavior part, and that is, fantasizing, that is acting up on these fantasies and doing things. That's completely different. And it's the same thing as we have a lot of heterosexual men that have sex with other men. And we have a lot of gay men that have sex with women without being bisexual or anything. It's just, identity, orientation is one thing, behavior is another thing.
So, in terms of further in the community in Iceland or Reykjavik, is there any type of a leather scene? We mentioned that there wasn't a bar anymore, but are there still people that identify as leather, or is it more of a fetish?
No, we don't have. Unfortunately, we don't have a leather scene here in Iceland. The old, leathermen that did have a leather club here in the past, and the gay leather scene, what we can call, they go abroad. Unfortunately, they are kind of a vanilla gay here in Iceland, and they bring all the toys and the leather to Berlin or London or France or whatever.
Okay, so I suspect the next answer may be no. But I was wondering is there a master-slave community here, or do you have anyone that identifies as master-slave?
Well, we have individuals that identify as master-slave couples. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But no, it's not more than just few individuals.
Okay. And you have been trying to work, as I understand, to pass legislation with the local government in terms of BDSM or your organization?
Well, we did in the beginning we decided to be in the closet, and that resulted in nothing happened. We did not get anything. No, there was no development, no progress, and in about 5-6 years ago, we decided to change that, to make the BDSM organization more open and more in line with the emphasis of the queer organizations. And in short story, we managed to get the health authorities we managed in 2015, we managed to get BDSM stricken off mental health sick list, same as that had been done in other Nordic countries before, but we managed to do that. That was in 2015, and because we are seeing BDSM as an orientation, as a part of a sexual identity, that enables us to be covered by law. You have protection against hate speech. Also, just this summer or this last spring, there was a law passed about protection against unlawful, what do you say? You cannot be laid off at work for being into BDSM.
Wow, that is very cool. Or nothing like that.
But I mean, it does not. I mean, it does not. It's not. And then you have to see there's a difference between the orientation part, the sexual identity, and behavior. You can be. I mean, if you are a kindergarten teacher and you show up in a leather dress, well, or doing things that are not appropriate, you can be fired, of course. But just being into BDSM, it's not allowed to fire you for that.
Wow, that's very refreshing to hear. I mean, there's no protections like that I've heard about anywhere in the States or anything.
Yeah, this is the reason it's important to see or to see BDSM as a part of your sexual identity. It's a part of who you are, and then you can strive towards getting the same protection as other queer identities.
So this brings the question: if I'm, let's say, I'm younger, and can I identify then as being interested in BDSM? And is that what I'm saying? Is can you come here and learn about that, or do you have to wait until you're a certain age to begin being educated about BDSM?
Yeah, well, there is the legal age here in Iceland is 18.
Okay.
The age of sexual consent is 15 or 16 for people at the same age. Teenagers can have sex with each other, but if you have an adult and a teenager, well, that's not going to. I mean, that's not right. But we have had inquiries from therapists and teenagers to come to the BDSM organization, and we send them towards. There is a youth program within the queer organization for between 14 and 17-year-old. It's like a youth. I don't know the English word for it. Okay. So there's a gathering, there's an education. It's not strived exactly for BDSM teenagers, but they are welcome there, and there are teenagers that have been there. Yeah.
What would you like to see happen in the future for progress for your organization?
Not being needed. I mean, the goal for the organization and everything is for people to be themselves. And when when we're striving, teenagers that are questioning themselves. It doesn't matter if you're gay, into BDSM, trans, whatever. They are questioning themselves. What's wrong with me? Why am I different? And it's the same. I mean, you can ask. I mean, almost all queer person in one way or another, and they ask themselves the same question. And that goes. That goes into educate them. It's okay to be yourself, and we are seeing a lot of progress there. It's much easier seems to be much easier for kids today to be queer or pansexual or bisexual or whatever than it was 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Not even. I mean, if we're talking 20 years ago, it's like a night and day, the difference, and so everything goes into sex education, about sexuality, about how people communicate with each other, and how people can be themselves.
And just also a little bit more about you. Do you have a partner or partners? Yes, I have partners and pansexual Polish switch, total what? Oh, everything's good.
Greedy everything.
Yeah.
My interest in BDSM.
What are your interests in BDSM? What type of activities do you? I saw you enclosed in a suit, a gummy, a rubber suit.
Leather.
Oh, it was leather in the thing. It was very shiny. It looked like it had been.
Well, that's probably plastic.
Okay.
Well, my first introduction to, should I say introduction? My first experimentation with BDSM was self-bondage. So bondage is one of my main big things. And then you have S&M stuff, and then almost everything else. Mm-hmm. There's very little that, I mean, what I get off is connection, the communication, the connection with people. So what I do as a sub is not the same as a dom. It's completely different. What I get off, mm-hmm. But it's just a question of how you connect with people, and if you have a good connection, everything is possible.
Mm. Have you ever traveled outside of Iceland and explored other BDSM communities, leather communities?
Yeah, mostly in UK, in London. Mm-hmm. And that's just awesome. I have a lot of great friends there. I've met quite few friends from the US that have come here and partied with us and do silly, crazy stuff. Okay. And it's just all fun things to do, yeah.
Okay, and also I have to ask, because you're very, very handsome. Is there a bear community here too?
Thank
where
you.
There's more of you, Magnus?
We have, there's every autumn or late August or beginning of September, we have beer on ice.
Okay.
That's a beer festival.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Magnus, I appreciate you taking the time to just sit with us for a little bit. It's been an incredible honor, and again, I just want to say this is one of the most the most beautiful and fantastic country I've been to. It's
I agree.
very magical, and just there's something primal about Iceland, just being connected to these elements.
I relate to that, and the more I travel the world, the more I like it here.
Okay. Is it okay if I get a hug? Or?
I'm a sucker for hugs.